was born in Karlsruhe, Germany. Things were already very, very bad in Germany. And then, of course, then came Kristallnacht. And it was actually then that my parents finally, I don't know, realized or decided that they wanted to get visas to get out of Germany. And by that time, it was very hard to get visas, and they were given a very large quota, and they couldn't go out. And then eventually in 1940, that whole area, my parents and I were deported into France, as I mentioned, into camps, internment camps in France.
My name is Doris Usherovich. I was born Fischer, is my maiden name. I was born in the Czech Republic. We owned an estate, and my father was a farmer. High society family. My father was a very educated man, and then the war started. The Germans came in, and we were lucky to get out, and we ended up in Palestine, and then came in '57 to the States.
I'm born in Poland. The city is Pabianice. My family, we were 3 brothers. We live our life. I go to school. And in 1939, when the Germans came into the city, and everything changed. They closed the school, they took over the synagogue, they blow it up, they damaged the synagogue and everything. They start with the Jewish people. I went through 2 ghettos, 3 concentration camps. Afterwards, I was liberated. I came to Palestine. And over there, I joined the army. I was 20, and I was fighting the Arabs. The war started, 47, 48. I went to the POW camp, and I was there 9 months. And after I was liberated, exchanged with the Arabs, I came back to the state of Israel.
40? Okay. Where were you born in 41?
41, in Potenza, at the capital of this province. Catholic Church was watching in this area, was actually logging who the Jews were and taking care of them, basically. They also gave each Jew in the town of Potenza, I found records, a full lira a day if you were over 12 and a half, if you were 13 years old, for level of subsistence, which of course didn't happen in any of the concentration camps. So you had free movement with the population. You couldn't work. You were designated a housing. The terrible thing is you didn't know what the hell was happening from day to day or week to week.
I was born in Westerbork, Holland, the same place where Anne Frank was taken after she was captured. I was born in the war, in the concentration camp, February 27, 1942. My parents were part of the infrastructure. We had all the Jewish rituals taken care of in Westerbork. In March 1944, the Germans ran out of Western Jews to ship, so they cannibalized Westerbork. They shipped us to Ravensbrück. From Ravensbrück, March 1945, we went to Bergen-Belsen. We arrived in Bergen-Belsen around the time Anne Frank died in Bergen-Belsen. And we were liberated by the British April 15, 1945.
I think anti-Semitism terrible, but we've always had anti-Semitism, you know. But now it's really weird. It's come more public. People are not afraid to say things that they shouldn't. And what's happening today, and Well, you read all the anti-Semitism that's coming out, and people are demonstrating pro-Palestinian from river to the sea, where they don't even know what the river to the sea is, you know. And it's really frightening that it's becoming so out in public today, where it never used to, both in Europe and the United States.
Today, I really looking back at it, and I see that it's sad that the people don't learn from mistake, and we are back where we started 75 years ago. And we as the adults think it's really sad that people cannot live in peace with each other. And it's a tough situation.
But what's going on here is very sad. And I feel everything so hard. I cannot even open a TV and look this bad thing what's going on. I'm sad, but I cannot help it. I'm only one person.
The Jewish calendar says we're in the year 5784. And there's been anti-Semitism. It's very popular. It's a very popular thing. It's not just what's happening today. It's been happening all along.
It's different from the past in that it's more public today. People are not afraid to which is scary, are not afraid to say, you know, what they're thinking, what they think of Jews today. And it scares me that people can be so, and what are they going to do next? But you see things happening today which didn't happen years ago, that wouldn't have happened years ago. And it's part anti-Semitism, it's part of what's going on today in general. And I'm worried that this could happen.
There always was on this against the Jews. The Jews gave them jobs in Poland. They voted for the Jews, but they didn't like the Jews. They threw stones, and they threw stones through the windows and everything. Was life before the war. Listen, nobody liked the Jews. This the problem is.
What I am afraid of is that, and I think the United States is part of this, is that you have the erosions of checks and balances in our own government. And that could lead to unchecked power of elected officials, because those elected officials, for the most part, are put in because they know someone in the government. It's a danger not only to Jews, but it's a danger to all people, whether you're a minority or not a minority.
There should be more education of what went on about the Holocaust and what could happen. And I think people should speak to each other, whether they're Jews or Muslims or Christians, really come out more because I've noticed for the most part, except for a few, they're pretty silent in what's going on. And talk to people, and people should talk to other people also. It helps when they speak to each other. You know, see what this is all about. Yeah, I'm Jewish, you're not. So what? So what are you doing? What am I doing? I think that's important, people speak to each other. I'm worried about that. I think they should be more open.
To educate them, to get the right education, and I'm not sorry for this. I try my best to educate them. This one and another one to be talked. talk, talk. You get people in, forget about it. They don't know what they're talking about. You cannot do nothing. You cannot do nothing.
We need to highlight the positive aspects and the commonalities that we share among the religions. And that, that not only Christian domination, but also the Muslim. We need to talk. We need to learn of the true history of facts, whether it's anti-Semitism or anything else, American history. And important is what is behind, what are the forces behind each of the historical events. One example, for example, is if you talk about Palestinian statehood, what is the history behind that? Okay, what is the history behind Zionism and the state of Israel?
You guys are charged, well, number one, to be our witness, as you know, but you're charged to do something about this anti-Semitism if you can. That's your guys' job.
Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you saying that? I think that's so important. Speak to the next point, whether Jewish or non-Jewish, but to explain to them what this is all about and to hear their side of the story. Why are you doing what you're doing? To take away with what happened and to make sure that something like this could not happen again. And I think that's so important, that they get this message and that they just don't keep it to themselves, but that they pass it on. Yeah, they've learned now what happened to me, but pass it on so that something like that could not happen again.
Stay positive, but stay out of trouble. There are a lot of people that want to harm you, and you have to know with whom you're dealing. A lot of people that are not educated and they don't realize, they talk and they don't realize what they're talking, and you get offended and then you get hot and the things are getting out of control. So, and the main thing, I think, is not to be brainwashed. I think a lot of this media and people, their phones, and it's a very bad influence. You really shouldn't listen to everybody with everything they say. To intimidate you and get into discussions and all this stuff. And you just stay for your own rights and just don't listen.
And choose the right friends. This is the main thing. If you have the right friends, you can talk to them, and you can try everything. This is very important, because a bad friend, only one, can spoil the whole group. If you have a, don't leave a bad and don't do nothing.
Reestablish a spiritual connection to the synagogue. You can't just say, well, you have to go to synagogue, you have to observe these rituals, and that is. You have to have that spiritual connection. And I might add, at least from my point of view, to learn about that spiritual connection and to evolve into it, you need to learn history, Jewish history in this case, and other people's history as well. That's why some synagogues are losing membership, and churches as well. So, and that's easily said, but to do it is a different story. Establish or reestablish that dormant spiritualism, or that dulled spiritualism that you're seeking. You might find something that suits you and becomes meaningful.
Social media is the single biggest enemy you guys have. Truly, it's the single biggest enemy you have. But you and I mean universal you, have the opportunity to shut it out. You're in control of your behavior. Can you cut out social media?
I'm hoping that what you and the other members of the Witness Project have learned and pass it on. I'm also hopeful, and I know, and I've mentioned this before as well, the fact that we have Israel now, and that because we have Israel, something like the Holocaust could not happen again, because God forbid something should happen, there's always Israel. And that we didn't have that during the Holocaust. There's a big percentage of people who are not anti-Semitic. And I think that we should, concentrate on that. And that makes me hopeful about those people who are not.
We hope for the better. That's the only thing that you can do. The things will improve and we don't get into another mess, because wars are not pleasant.
As I am hopeful. They will know what to do. The young, or the older one, they will know how to handle and how to behave. So I am hopeful.
One cannot live without hope. It's the only thing that dictators can't take away from the population. Always think of the positive light that warms our soul. Goodness will always prevail, in my opinion, against evil. And I'm encouraged by young people like yourself who are engaged in initiatives such as this one that give me hope for the future.
If something goes wrong in this country, I have a place to go. I have a place to go. I may not live there, but that I belong to them. That they will embrace me. So I have to make sure that they exist.